Okay, y'all want a list of the most anticipated movies and TV shows of 2026? Let's go, baby. 28 years later, The Bone Temple arrives on January 16th, and I think people are reasonably excited about this one.
Wonderful shot.
I don't know, it's not one you hear about a lot, but that trailer sure looks sweet, and it's coming off the back of a film that, while not a massive commercial success, I'd certainly call it a critically successful film. Also on January 16th, we're getting Joe Carnahan's crime thriller The Rip, starring Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, which, I don't know, I'm sure someone's pretty pumped for. So what else do I have here? That same weekend, we'll be tuning into A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the latest spin-off series set in the world of Game of Thrones. At some point, probably June, we'll also be getting Season 3 of House of the Dragon, so consider yourself satiated on Thrones content in 2026. On the 27th, Disney Plus will bring us their latest series, Wonder Man, the very meta adaptation that we've been waiting for what seems like a bajillion years. At some point, we'll also be getting Vision Quest, but that date is still up in the air. MGM Plus, meanwhile, will be airing its own Marvel property, the Spider-Verse spinoff Spider-Noir, starring Nick Cage, also at some point in the year. January will wrap up on the 30th with Sam Raimi's Send Help, which brings the director back to the horror genre to some degree, even though Send Help does look more like a thriller. Either way, you love to see a guy in his element. Scream 7 drops on February 27th, and the big headline on this one is that Neve Campbell is back as Sidney Prescott. The negative side is that we're still down to Melissa Barrera following that whole controversy we're absolutely not delving into right now. It's a bit of a give and take situation, but gosh darn it if I don't love myself a new Scream. Next up, The Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal directing a Frankenstein movie set in 1930 Chicago? Yes, please. This one arrives March 6th. We've got Christian Bale as the monster and Jessie Buckley as the titular bride. Honestly, the vibes on this one, they seem immaculate, kind of punk rock gothic. It's weird, it's bold, and it's exactly the kind of swing we need in March, which is otherwise pretty barren unless you're amped for Project Hail Mary or the Disney cartoon Hoppers. Jumping over to April, the 3rd brings us back to the Mushroom Kingdom with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The first film made like literally $1 billion, so this was inevitable. The plot features Bowser Jr. seeking revenge for his father's defeat, and will also introduce us to Princess Rosalina, voiced by Brie Larson, and I'm sure no one on the internet has or will say anything obnoxious about that casting. If you slept on the first Ready or Not, you've got limited time to catch up. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, arrives on April 10th. This is a pretty long-awaited sequel, and while I haven't heard much chatter about it yet, I expect that to change once the trailer drops. Speaking of trailers, Michael, starring John Travolta as an angel on a... Wait, no, sorry. The Michael we're getting on April 24th is actually the long-awaited Michael Jackson biopic, directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, playing the king of pop. While the discourse over the trailer doesn't feel quite as big as, say, Bohemian Rhapsody, this one still promises to be huge upon release. Not to mention controversial. Less controversial is The Devil Wears Prada 2, opening May 1st. Miranda Priestly is back, apparently, and the industry has changed a lot since 2006. With Print dying, it could be pretty interesting to see Meryl Streep navigate a collapsing magazine empire. Or whatever, I don't know. Maybe they'll just shop? I never finished watching the first one. I'm kind of a piece of shit. Speaking of figurative bloodbaths, Mortal Kombat 2 will hit theaters with more literal carnage on May 8th. The first reboot was fine. It was fine. But this one has Carl Urban as Johnny Cage and promises to have an actual goddamn tournament, so things are looking up. Plus, that trailer is just so delightfully violent. It's gotta be good, right? Right? Now, here's a question. Is anyone actually anticipating Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu? Let me know in the comments if you are, because I legitimately forgot this was happening until I was compiling this list. For those who also forgot, this glorified TV special is hitting theaters on May 22nd, and will continue the adventures of The Mandalorian and his ludicrously marketable toy sidekick. Masters of the Universe hits June 5th, and we still haven't gotten a trailer, so it's very much still up in the air whether this will be a glorious success or a high-budget retread of the 1987 Dolph Lundgren version. That said, it is directed by Travis Knight, the former animator turned director who previously helmed Kubo and the Two Strings and Bumblebee. He actually has a separate film entitled Wildwood coming out at some point in 2026, marking his return to animation powerhouse Laika. So yeah, 2026, big year for Game of Thrones and Travis Knight fans. It's also a big year for sequels. Scary Movie 6 is currently scheduled for June 12th, and the Wayans brothers are back, baby! You might have noticed that the Scary Movie series kind of fell off after the second film, and that's primarily because they lacked the Wayans brothers' charm that elevated the first two. Regina Hall and Anna Faris are poised to reprise their roles of Brenda and Cindy, suggesting that we'll be seeing the franchise spoof the rise of soft reboots alongside other modern tropes like elevated horror. Toy Story 5 will reunite Woody with the rest of the toys on June 19th and introduce a tablet to update itself for modern times. I'm a bit skeptical of this one, but the mouse needs its cheese, and boy howdy, those Toy Story movies sure do produce a lot of cheddar. Superman's party girl cousin flies to the rescue on June 26th with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This is the first really big swing from James Gunn's new DC universe. It's a massive, spacefaring epic based on the comic run by Tom King, starring a character we haven't seen as a major force on the big screen in a long time. I think it's safe to say that while it might not be the most anticipated movie of 2026, it's pretty high up there. July features two of the other biggest releases of the year, and the first is The Odyssey, which lands on July 17th. It's Christopher Nolan adapting Homer. What else is there to say? It's got Matt Damon, Tom Holland, and probably a budget equivalent to the GDP of a small country. It's the blockbuster of the summer. I'm calling it now, although there is one other film that could take its spot, and that's Spider-Man Brand New Day, which swings into theaters 2 weeks later on July 31st and will also star Tom Holland, who, gosh darn it, better be a broke college student this time around. I mean, that's literally all I want. Well, that and to see him team up with the Punisher and tackle some street crime. With direction by Shang-Chi's Destin Daniel Cretton, we're looking at a really solid end to the summer movie season. The summer TV season, meanwhile, is likely to see the release of the DCU's latest series Lanterns, starring Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre as Green Lantern's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. This is yet another interesting swing from James Gunn, who tapped Ozark showrunner Chris Mundy to shepherd the series, which oddly enough was inspired by True Detective, which Mundy worked on as executive producer for its 4th season. But that doesn't mean we're done with comic book slop, and in this case, it's literal slop. Clayface makes his live-action debut on September 11th in his titular film, written by horror icon Mike Flanagan and directed by James Watkins, whom you might know as the guiding force behind Eden Lake, The Woman in Black, and the 2024 remake Speak No Evil. I think I speak for a lot of comic book fans when I say this is the most intriguing release of the year. Then on October 16th, we get another fighting video game adaptation, Street Fighter. This one is unlikely to be a huge success, especially since it has the shadow of the reviled 1994 adaptation looming over it. Still, it stars the American Nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes, as Guile, and gosh darn it, that just gets me all hot and bothered. Then there's The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping, which I'm contractually obligated to include on this list despite the fact I never watched past Catching Fire. Sue me. Still, I did watch the trailer for this one, which comes out November 20th, and it looks like a pretty solid action flick. You know what? Maybe I could binge the Hunger Games movies. Let me know if that's a good idea down in them there comments. Should Michael binge the Hunger Games film franchise? Now there's an idea. I could waste a lot of time doing a lot of things, and one of them could be that. Now, here's the big one. Avengers Doomsday is scheduled to hit theaters on December 18th. The Russos are back, RDJ is back, and unless one of these films blinks and changes dates, we're getting the box office battle of the century, since this is the same day that we're getting Dune Messiah. That's right, it's Doomsday, baby, and whoever wins, so do we. Back to TV, there are a few shows scheduled to arrive in 2026 that we just don't have much details on, like, when they'll be coming out. These include Season 3 of Euphoria, which is targeting a spring 2026 release and will most likely include tons of drug use and glitter. At some point in the year, Hunter Schafer will also appear in Prime Video's Blade Runner 2099, which will hopefully bring us more of that wonderful Blade Runner 2049 aesthetic, minus the Jared Leto of it all. We're also getting Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen, which is the next Netflix series from Stranger Things creators, the Duffer Brothers. They'll be executive producers on the project, while fellow executive producer Haley Z. Boston will serve as showrunner. She previously wrote the Netflix miniseries Brand New Cherry Flavor. We're also expecting Mike Flanagan's Carrie to drop on Prime Video sometime in 2026. The original date was March, but that got delayed. While we definitely have had more than enough Carrie adaptations over the years, it's still Mike freaking Flanagan. The dude can do no wrong. Midnight Mass Hive, rise up. Oh, Apple TV. On Apple TV, we're getting new seasons for a bunch of great shows, including Ted Lasso and For All Mankind. But for my money, the biggest release on that platform is Neuromancer. We haven't seen anything beyond some set leaks, but this William Gibson adaptation promises to be insane if the production is sticking close to the source material. Which, by the way, go read Neuromancer. It's a proper cyberpunk mind melter, not to mention being the foundation of the genre. And that's about it. That's all I got as far as big movies and TV shows of 2026 go. At least that's from my perspective. I'm willing to bet I definitely missed some television gold, so please yell at me in the comments about what I failed to include. And hey, until next time, thank you for watching ScreenRant.